We'd like to welcome each and every individual to Voices of Integrity podcast for the Top Gun Sales Boot Camp training today. And, things, this is day 2 of the training. And so, for all of you, what's the number one takeaway from yesterday's training?
Ask key questions.
Nice,
Doing up and out.
nice.
Mine was the up and out too.
Good. Becky,
I learned a lot yesterday. The key
what's the,
questions,
yep.
and also not every client is worth messing with.
Ooh, nice. That's a really good lesson. So in sales, what's hard, like for me, because of the stupid life vision I've got, like I don't let, well, I use that as an excuse, but maybe it's really truly because I'm an amiable at heart. Um, and I just care about people, and the people who can't afford it are the ones that, like, I don't know. So that's a really good lesson. You know, yeah. So what are the 3 most important things to determine a sale? 3 things you're looking for.
Decision maker,
Yep.
affordability,
Yep.
and time frame.
Well, what impacts the time frame?
Like how much runway they have?
Um, mm,
Maybe
like
their
somebody,
eagerness or willingness.
what
If
controls that?
if you're a good fit for them,
No, in sales doesn't start until you get a no. A great salesman gets excited when they get a no. Before then, you're just an order taker. Like, like if you get a sale, somebody just gives you a sale. They call it a laydown in car sales. So somebody comes in and if you go into a car dealer and say this is a laydown, they just get all giddy because it's somebody who knows what they want. They're willing to pay full price for it. They're not going to negotiate. It's just, hey, this is what I want. Boom, boom, boom. So it almost never happens. And um, so you don't have really any control over, are they the decision maker? They either are or not. Now, who you think is the decision maker is not necessarily who is the decision maker, right?
Right.
You know, this is especially true in marriages. So if you like in mortgage, like when I did the mortgage training, I'd say, okay, so Roseanne and I go in and we're doing a mortgage. So it's a home. We're buying a home. We're married. And so we're going to go ahead and buy the home and the loan officer, he meets with Roseanne and I. Who does he think is the decision maker?
probably you.
Yeah. He thinks I'm the decision maker because of why?
You're the man.
Okay, so that's partly true, but a lot of the stereotypes of men and women is actually not men and women. It's not gender based. It's personality based. 75% of men are going to be driver analytic. 75% of women are going to be expressive amiable. And so, there's a good chance, if you have a man who's an amiable and amiable expressive and a wife who's going to be analytic driver, that they will think that the wife is going to be the decision maker, especially the driver. So subconsciously. So it is partly the man thing, but it's not entirely. So it's not necessarily because I'm a man, it's because I'm a driver. If Rosanna was the driver and I was the amiable, the salesperson probably thinks he's the decision maker. Oh, so we go ahead and I like the guy or the gal that's the loan officer and to go through everything, and we make a decision to go ahead and move forward with that mortgage. He's all happy. Let's say it's a loan officer who's a woman. So she's all happy and she thinks, yeah, well, let's say it's a man. So there's not the gender thing that happens. So he's all happy and he's like, okay, they said yes. And then on the way home, something interesting happens. Anybody know what happens?
Rosanna speaks out.
No, she actually doesn't.
You ask her for it?
I do. Because she's a sneaky little bugger. So somehow she gets me to ask her a question. Somehow she does. Those women, they're sneaky little buggers. So somehow she goes ahead and I don't know. I said, so what'd you think? So she changes her energy just a bit. She changes her energy just a little bit. And then she goes ahead and I say, so well, what do you think? And she says, I liked him. Like he was a nice guy. And I'm like, okay. Like, was there something wrong? And she's like, no, I guess not. Like, and then I'm like, it seems like something's wrong with, like, it seems like something's not right. And she's like, I mean, no. So it takes 3 times at least. And then she goes ahead. It's like Esther in the Bible. Like she says, I don't know, he's a super nice guy. I just don't know if I can trust him. Like if we can trust him. Like he seemed off a little bit. And he's done. She absolutely destroyed him. Like ate him alive. And yipper. So with the amiable, when you're selling the amiable, it's tricky. They will go ahead and I don't know if Nora and I have had this at all. But they will go ahead and give you false buying signs. Let's close the loop. So decision maker, who's the decision maker? But then you not only have the decision maker, you also have the influencer. Now the wife might be a decision maker and you don't even know it. And the husband doesn't even know it. But she does, and she knows how to get what she wants. And so, but you'd still, even if he is the decision maker, there's influencers. And they almost always have the opposites. And the analytic is the one that might be most feared. So I think it was Nora that had somebody, maybe it was Becky, that had somebody that, is just negative. It was, I think, Nora. So you guys come to these boot camps with specific examples. So you have the decision maker, okay? So that you really can't control, but you need to understand it. And so you can move it, you can and leverage it. Number 2 is, can they afford to buy your product or service? So let's say they can't afford to do it. What do you do? Well, what do I do?
Financing?
Well, you could, yeah. So that's good. So over the wall, under the wall, to the left, to the right. So you could go into financing. Good. What I do is I develop a new product. I go down here, and I develop a new product that they can't afford. When you look at cars like Toyota, they have different levels of cars. So they have the Corolla and the Camry and the Lexus. I don't know if that's still there, but anyways, so most every car manufacturer has different levels. And their profit margins are highest on the higher levels. Because a lot of the higher levels are going to be the more ego. Ooh, that was what was said at Coffee Connection. Do any of you remember? People are willing to pay more for something they don't need than something they need. I'm like,
Oh yeah, I've heard that before. It's like toys and things like that. It's easier, or people buy that just, I don't know why. It's easy. You can make more money on things like that. People don't things that people don't need.
See, that's what Mel, owner of Bluegate, he had the little wagons. He's like, they don't need it. Nobody needs it. But so interesting. It must be something in the Amish. So the second is, can they afford it? The third is what the salesperson has the most control over. Any of you remember?
Is it if they're a good fit?
No,
No? Okay.
no. So you want to memorize this, and you want to memorize it in order. So are they the decision maker? And then look for influencers. The second is, do they have the ability to afford it? And the third is the sense of urgency. That's what the salesperson has the most control over. So, Nora and I have a client, two clients actually, that said the first of the year. And it wasn't a good teaching example for Nora. I was not. So I'm glad we're doing this, because she didn't see me try to overcome the objections and move them closer to. So they said the first of the year. So that was a month. So I didn't go ahead. So their sense of urgency, they're going to get started at the beginning of the year. And Nora didn't see me fight that, didn't see me push back, didn't see me try to, move them forward. Do you know why, Nora?
Not sure.
So there's two reasons. One is they're your client, and so you're getting started. So there's risk when you increase the pressure. There's risk that you lose the client because you're increasing the pressure.
Right.
But that's not the biggest reason. The biggest reason is because I believe that, they have, one of them especially, has a lot of ability to influence a lot of business. So now I have to consider, that person. I need to consider that person, and I need to consider the all the people they're going to refer to us. She is a double expressive, I believe, expressive driver. But if I push her, she's going to think I'm going to push people around her. So it's not worth the risk. Or what's the other option? Like, that's what I think it is, but what's the other option? I'm lazy. I'm too amiable. I don't want the conflict. So what is it that when I was you guys' age that I picked up that you guys didn't pick up from yesterday?
I don't know. It wasn't.
It's leverage.
Huh.
So I'm 23 years old, and I'm like, I could make money on my own sales, which is great. But if I built a team of people, recruited them, trained them, developed them, I could go ahead and make money on them from their efforts. And I saw that without any training. So nobody had ever done what I had done before in that company. Nobody explained it to me. I didn't get it in my 3 degrees in business. I don't know. I just knew it. I just knew leverage. I'm just like, okay, I've got to leverage other people. I'm going to help them in the short term. I'm going to make less money. So sales managers often make less money than the top salesperson. Shoot, business owners often make less money than the top salesperson. So what I wanted to accomplish today for you guys is one is to come prepared. Make sure you're prepared. Make sure and if you don't do it, if you don't take action today on what you learned today, you're going to lose it. So the Bible says knowledge puffeth up. It makes us feel smart. So how do you prevent knowledge from puffing up? You just do it. Why? Because when you do it, you'll be humbled. Like you could be a therapist and have 3 doctorate degrees in child education, and you could have a practice and give all these parents all these advice. How do you be humble with children? Just have a child, then you'll be humble. Children will just humble you. So how do you be humble? You just go out and sell. You got to do something. So you got to take something from today and you have to apply it from this morning. You have to apply it. So it's really cool. We're doing it at 5:30 in the morning because it gets your day off. Like, okay, now your brain is like, how am I going to apply what I'm learning today? And then tomorrow you come and you have specific examples. I did this and this and this and this and this because of the boot camp. This seemed to work. And so, okay, this seemed not to work. Okay. So you want to almost overwhelm me with specific examples. So I'm talking less and you're talking more. So the number one thing, Tom Kuhn says, know your numbers. So know your numbers. What does that mean? It's the pressure point analysis. So Nora and Becky have a pressure point. Kenny used to. And so digging into that and going through that, and Shuaib is working on, automating all of that. But until he gets it automated, you've got to use the spreadsheet. And I don't know where, somewhere I had 3 product lines and I had a really, really complex pressure point analysis, like super complex, maybe too complex. And so Kenny and Luke for Dreamscape, it's like, how much you guys are familiar with the 4 levels of want, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So you got to go ahead and determine, like when you say, when you go ahead and say, I want 2.5 million in sales. I want to earn, 250,000 or 300,000. Which level of want, which level of want are you at for that? So this comes from Tom too. So I want, and then there's obstacles, and then there's sacrifice, and then there's the decision, and then there's the do. So could Nora go ahead and get Tom? I mean, he's not going to come on at 2:30 in the morning, but could she have a special session where he would jump on with all of you and explain this? Or I don't know, like know your numbers. Like the guy ran a company that had 140,000, not 140,000 sales reps in 70 different countries. It's like, are you kidding? Dang.
So, Mark, I have a question.
Yeah.
How do you like? I struggle with the, so I can talk to people, and then I feel like I don't know if it's just a go-to or I need to come up with a sales pitch of some sort. So it's like you talk to them, you do the 30-minute strategy session, and then, instead of going in for the close, or then it's like I tend to just say, well, like I sell you.
Right.
with the line. And then
Right.
it's like I need to come up with something. So how do I do that?
Well, how do I do it? How do I go from the, from the 30-minute into closing the X-ray sale? See, what I'm doing is using leverage, and that's box 8. Box 8 is leverage, the course. So what you're doing is you're taking all of the questions that they have and leveraging it. You're leveraging it to go ahead and sell at $285. Like if they're not willing or able to invest into $285, you know what? They're not going to be a good prospect for you.
True.
And so you evolve from a point to where you're depending on me, like the training wheels on a bike. Do you guys know what that is?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't figure Amish had training wheels. They just crash, It's like, get up and do it again, son. So training wheels, and so you got to get the training wheels off. And so what you do is you go for the close. So you watch how I go for the close. You just use all of the data that they had, and you're considering the personality, and then you go ahead and go for the close. If you need a little help, you can say, like, I personally know the guy who created this like 30 years ago. He's not old, but like I know the guy personally who did this. And I think I might be able to get him to go ahead and personally do the review. So the longer you keep me away from the person, the more valuable I become, the more mystique that there is.
Okay.
So that's a great question. So what Nora's doing is she's not being lazy. She's not depending on me. She's like, I want to take over. It's like Lincoln. He wants to help with the dishes. He wants to help around the house. He wants to do things that he doesn't know how to do. That when he's involved, it takes his mom longer to do things. And that he'll do that until he gets good at doing dishes. Then he won't want to do the dishes anymore. Like, it's just the human condition is so strange. You study Lincoln, you study how to do sales. Like, small children know how to they know the alternate close. Mommy, can I have one popsicle or two? They know without any research. A lot of times you ask mom or dad, especially mom, you ask her once, you don't get it the first time. You just are relentless. Ask her again and again and again and again and again. Eventually, I'll wear her down. I'll get what I want. So they know that it takes 6 to 8 times to go ahead and get a yes. They understand that. They know how to use their eyes and their body language. They know how to do everything. Their children are the best salespeople in the world, bar none. Becky, what you got?
I need to hire my kids to do my sales.
Cool. Leverage. So you guys, I would say tomorrow you come with your win from the application from the previous day. So we learned this today. You apply this today. You come tomorrow with that. We just go through the beginning and just say, okay, so Nora, Becky, Kenny, and Luke, in that order. You just go through and say, this is what I applied from yesterday. Boom. It worked. It didn't work. This is what I
I
learned.
got one question from yesterday. So we have a system after an estimate goes out to the client. We have a system that automatically follows up with that estimate in like a week, just to remind them that the estimate's there, and often that gives us.
What do you think? There should be a follow-up.
We do have a follow-up.
No, a week. Is that too long? Is it too short?
I think a week is almost right.
So I
That
don't
way,
think it is. But you might have a process, you just didn't communicate that. So how do you get them the estimate?
email.
What if it goes into spam? So you need something immediately. You need to have a call as soon as it's being sent out or right after it's being sent out. You need one of those in. You need one of those in your process. Do you ask them, are you considering anybody else? Like in your questions, are you considering anybody else for this project? Do you ask them that question?
No, we don't.
So what's the only reason you wouldn't do that? The only good reason you wouldn't do that?
So they don't think of doing that.
Yeah, that's the only good reason. So there's something that Tony Robbins teaches, mirroring, and you guys can write that down for a future session, mirroring and modeling, and I can teach you guys how to do that. And then there's auto suggestions where you can subtly, you can move people subtly, like they don't know you're moving them. And you can move them for good or you can move them for bad. You can do it, so there's a whole bunch of different things. But as a general rule, you're probably going to want to ask if they're thinking of somebody else. As a general rule.
Mhm.
But either way, you want to make sure they're getting the bid because you're going to
Right.
get that they receive the bid. So you call them that same day, as soon as it happens, or soon thereafter, and say, "I just want to let you know, I just wanted to let you know that we got you out the bid, and if you have any questions, I'm going to plan to call next week. But if you have any questions, give you a little time." So that's the aim. The amiable and the analytic tend to do better in pre-sales. The driver and the expressive tend to do better in the sale. So Kenny is an amiable, and then he's an expressive. I'm an analytic, and I'm a driver. So my analytic will do good in sales or pre-sales. My driver will be good in sales. And so the analytic and the amiable will tend to take too long. They over nurture them. They don't go for the close fast enough. So Nora is a double analytic. She's gonna have a hard time going for the sale, but her secondaries are driver and expressive. So the pre-sales is get them to know, like, and trust you. That's pre-sales. Know, like, and trust you. The job of the salesperson is to close the sale. The amiable is going to spend too much time, and the analytics going to spend too much time. The downside of having these two to be separate roles, actually. And so Becky, she's like an inner quadrant. Like in one situation, it's just like fascinating. So she's an deep inner quadrant chameleon personality. And so hers is going to be more complicated. So she will probably have more natural ability to shift, but that shift could be good or it could be bad for her. So if you're supposed to be closing the sale and you're still educating them or developing relationships, that's not good. So if you're supposed to be educating or developing relationships and you're closing them, that's not good. So Becky's a really complicated personality. So in the geo test, she's going to be a driver expressive. In the pain quadrant test, she's going to be analytic amiable. It's just fascinating. And so if she does this well, she will be a just natural killer salesperson. If she does it well. If she doesn't, she's going to be trying to sell when she could be doing the other. She's going to be doing the other when she's doing it sell. So it's going to be either really, really good for her or really, really bad. Questions, Kenny?
No, that makes sense.
So what you don't want to do is you don't want to go too slow on the follow up, because if somebody is a better salesperson than you, they will close them. And they, not because they have a better product or service, they're just better in sales than you are.
Uh-huh.
And that's a great feeling when that happens, because man, does it tick you off and you learn. Luke, anything you got?
So, like for us, we go out, do an estimate or figure out, then we come back to the office and figure out what our price is. I was just thinking of the final, is there any questions that I should have asked or didn't ask, or any information that I should know that I didn't know or that I don't know? That,
That's the second to the last question.
okay.
Do you guys have
Then
your,
the last one is any questions for us?
yeah, yep. And
How do
again,
I,
your tone and your voice on all of that is really important. So your challenge is going to be, is you're so expressive, they're going to think you're after the sale. You got to learn to, kind of flow and soften it up and come in a little, not come in so hot.
mm-hmm.
So you guys should go ahead and write down your process, your questions. And then you start looking at every little piece, every little nuance. It's like when Nora flies, she checks everything, because one mischeck could make a difference. But there's a high probability that the fuel airlines, she's going to check that, and it will never ever go ahead and be something wrong with it ever. So the tendency is to cut corners. And sometimes you do, not in flying a plane, but sometimes you do cut corners, and sometimes it's okay. The risk is you're cutting corners and it's going to cost you the sale. And you might not even know that it did. Okay, so you guys have gone over a lot today. And so,
One more thing
Yep.
that I'd like to.
yep,
So Luke coming into, yesterday I talked with him and I just kind of gave him one of my sales
yep,
that for him to take.
yep.
And I didn't know, would it be better for me to kind of walk him through that process, or kind of for him to go with me on a few, or just throw him
Yeah,
in there and see
normally,
if it floats.
yeah, normally you go ahead and walk somebody through it like I'm doing with Nora. Like normally you walk somebody through it, they watch you really, and then you ask them what they saw. And based on what he saw, how attentive is he to you and the customer? So almost always yes. And then theoretically, then you would go out with him and he would do everything. That's hard for him, it's hard for you. And so that's the ideal.
Got it.
And so you gradually go ahead and bring somebody in, fold somebody in, wean somebody into it. Yep. Yep. And then all
And
of
this
you, again, what should have you learned from yesterday that you didn't?
leverage.
Leverage. So what you all should be doing is you all should be looking to bring two people on. And so what you do is you learn how to go ahead. You learn that the 530 grid is not just for sales. It's not just for construction. It's not just for accounting. It's not just for coaching. It's for any business. But it's not only for that, it's for recruiting. Who are the two people that are most likely you're going to bring on? See, you might go ahead and never bring them on. Well, why would you go ahead and target them? So you get experience at developing people. So Alan Stein, he said, Mark, you're one of the best developers of people that I've ever met in my life. I personally don't think I am. I think I suck at it. I mean, no offense to you guys. I'm just saying that I just don't think I'm good at it. And so the standard's pretty low, evidently. And so you want to get other people, you want to get in and you want to start getting other people. So the best way to learn something is to do it and then to teach it, doing both. So you start warming people up to it. You start getting people. And so you target 2 people, and then you might have 3 or 4 or 5 or 10 people. So you guys live in an Amish community. There are so many people, they don't even think about being in sales. They don't even think about, well, man, I could sell and I could go ahead and work from home big time. They very interested in that. And I could sell outside of the area, so I'm not competing against myself. So understanding the value of what you have is going to be important. And then I would communicate at least once throughout the day with all of you together. So what you do is you start to move together in force, like the power of one. So hopefully this is helpful to all of you. Have an amazing day.
One more thing.
Yep.
So with how much different are, let's say a driver and expressive is doing sales and an analytic amiable, their process, their questions that they're going to ask, like how different are they going to be?
So the questions probably are not going to be different. How you ask the questions are going to be different, but it's not about the salesperson. It's about who you're selling to.
Got it.
That's what's going to be different. And so if the amiable, if the amiable is selling, I think it was Becky and Nora yesterday I was talking to them, I believe. And so I will adjust my personality to the individual to get the person to like me. So I'm like them. And then they'll like me. And then I'll go ahead and move to the opposite personality and they'll love me. So what I work, yes.
So you have to be a like a shapeshifter or something like that. So you have
Yeah.
to-
Yep. So Becky is naturally of all of us, Becky is the most natural at doing that. She's just a natural shapeshifter based on her personality. With me, I went ahead and switched my personality for 2 years to an amiable, 3 years to an expressive. And so I did that plus a whole bunch of other years where, and then so you get people to like them, so you mirror them what their personality is, their voice, their tone, and everything. So it's not about Luke, it's not about you as the sales. It's all about the customer. It's all about them. It's all about the prospect. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. All right. This is awesome. You guys, good work.